G'day, my name's Darryl Webb and today we're going to look at the new Olight Array headlamp, 400 lumen headlamp. We'll check it out, we'll see how long it runs for, how heavy it is, how long it takes to charge up and what applications it suits in the hiking, camping, fishing world. Anyway, let's get into it. So as soon as you open the packaging, you'll notice there's a nice proprietary magnetic USB charging lead. It comes all supplied in a semi-hard case that seems of good quality. Comes with an instruction manual, some extra cable management clips and some Velcro. Okay, we'll quickly talk about the build quality. Body's made of aluminium. It's got a really nice thick head strap. It's got some reflectors on the side. It has a little detachment point so you can actually pull it apart. So that makes that a 300 lumen head torch there. That's a good feature. We'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. Anyway, so you can just put that in your pack so it doesn't turn on in your pack. It has a flashing red light when you're using it. It's quite dim. It's not going to be intrusive in camp, but if you're using it out on the road at night or something like that, you can actually see it flashing. It's worth having. It charges with a magnetic proprietary cable, clips on it, and just goes into a USB port. It's a 2000 milliamp hour battery. It has two little bulbs in it. One's a flood, one's a spot, and you can run it either flood or you can run it with spot and flood. And you can choose between them on low, high, or have both of them on low, high. Anyway, when you turn it on, it lights up at the back and then it actually drops back for a split second and it gives you 8 lights that can be illuminated for battery status. If there's only, for instance, 4 light up, then you've only got 50% of your battery state. It's only 50% charge left. So it's pretty handy. 1/8, I guess, is really flat. Run times, according to the book, at 400 lumens you get 2.5 hours. At 200 lumens you get 4 hours and 30 minutes. At 100 lumens you get 6 hours and 30 minutes, and on wide low, which is lowest setting, 50 lumens you get 13 hours. It's quite a lot for walking around camp and cooking with. 13 hours is good. It's IPX4 water rated as well, so it can't handle a dunking, but we should be fine with rain and snow and things like that. After a full charge, I thought I'd actually set the timer, turn the torch on flat out and see how long it ran for. While that test was running, I thought I'd also hit it up with the thermal temperature gauge, and we've seen it hit temperatures of 71. Pretty warm. Anyway, after it had been on for a while, about 2 hours and 20 minutes, it did finally turn off. Now these times might actually change a bit because this torch has only been cycled a few times. Then to recharge the battery, we found it took 2 hours and 40 minutes and consumed 1960 milliamp hour. Okay, so now we'll talk about the user interface. So the light's simple in the way that think of that it's got a flood and a spot. They aren't quite really floody and they aren't quite really spotty, but that's the way they work. You can have either just the flood on, or you can have the flood and spot on at the same time, and then you've got 2 power settings for it. So this has got a memory, which is really handy. There's nothing worse than a light that you've set it up just the way you like it, you turn it off, turn it back on, and all of a sudden you've got to go through all the settings again. This one just remembers whatever you had it on last, it turns back on, and that's it. So press it once, it turns on. Okay, so you can see there now, hopefully you can see that there's 2 beams. That's both on, flood and spot. Double click it and it goes to a single beam. Okay, so anytime you're in any setting you're in, you can just hold your finger on it and it'll go high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. Okay, so single beam, low, that's your 50 lumens. And while you're in that, you can just hold your finger on and go high, low, high, low, high, low. Leave it on high, that's your 200 lumens. Double click it, 2 of them on high, that's 400 lumens. High, low, back to low, that's 100 lumens. So it's a pretty simple way of doing it. Also, on that user interface, you can click it 3 times and you get 3 quick clicks and you get trying to point it at you get a SOS function. There's no strobe on this, but you know what? I'm never really sure what strobe was for anyway. I mean, when LED lights first came out, they were all about, strobe was for self-protection and dazzling people. Maybe for wildlife self-protection, I don't know. I don't have a problem with drop bears here, so I don't see the use for it anyway. SOS is much more useful. Now, I believe it's a lot easier to see in a photo how the light actually reacts. So these are how the eye actually sees it. So this is 50 lumens. This is 100 lumens. This is 200 lumens. And the final photograph here is 400 lumens. This is over a 35 metre distance. Now we will talk about pros and cons. What have I sort of worked out with it? I'll start off with some cons. I'd like it if you could turn that light off at the back. It's distracting. When I first seen there was a red light, I pictured that I was going to be in my tent or something like that and it'd be flashing like the tent would be flashing red. It's not like that. It's actually quite timid, and it's actually a tinted back panel on the light. So when you're directly behind it, if you're looking down the road looking at it, you can see it, but it's just around camp. It's not really distracting anyway. It's quite mild. Maybe it would have been nice if they had an option just to switch that off. I sort of get in a way why they don't, because maybe people will be road walking and they turn it off to try and get maybe an extra 5 minutes of run time, which is probably just a silly, but it is what it is. Other cons. It's 400 lumens. Do you really need that much? It's nice to have it if it's there, isn't it? Why not? 50 lumens. Okay, so 50 lumens on wide. When I first read that, I'm like, that's going to be way too bright. It's going to need a moonlight feature. It's going to be too bright. When I seen it in the flesh, the light's wide enough and the colour temperature, I'm guessing it's around 5 to 5,500 K, a bit like natural sunlight actually, that it actually doesn't take away. So even at 50 lumens, around camp, it's not too bright. But if you're someone who likes to lay in your tent at night and read, it's going to be pushing it for brightness. You might be better off bouncing off the roof, because it has got a long run time even at 50 lumens anyway, so that doesn't really matter. Okay, pros. What's the pros about it? Well, it really gives you genuine 400 lumens, and it doesn't drop down until like the last minutes before it goes flat. You'll see a lot of ones, they might be 600 lumens and things like that. A lot of them only give it for like 2 minutes or even a minute and then drop down to like 200 lumens. They just throttle down. It's like a turbo mode. Some Olight stuff does that as well, but they tell you that it doesn't. This just holds its 400 lumens. It doesn't muck around. Another big pro that I haven't seen too many people talk about is, so as we know, we can unlatch this. You can Velcro that off, and this actually just unclips. Now this one's actually for the ultralight hiker, the guy who's a gram counter. You know who you are. Some people actually will cut their straps off. You don't need to do that on this, and they'll put on a bit of soft bungee cord and just some really light stretchy cord, and they'll run their super light ones, trying to make them as light as possible. I wouldn't personally do that, but if you're the type of person that does that, you can slip this off and all of a sudden you've got a light system that's got 400 lumens that only weighs 26 grams. We all carry a power bank if you're doing those overnight hikes anyway for your phone and your GPS. It's a micro USB port, so if you've got a lead, all of a sudden you can plug that in there, have your power bank in your backpack, and you've got a 400 lumen torch with indefinite amount of runtime. That's crazy. Anyway, if this is the type of light that you may be interested in, I would highly recommend going over to the olightstore.com.au, so Olight Australia. Check them out. They're very reasonably priced. They're not the most expensive torch in the world, but they're definitely not the cheapest. They are really good actually. They're very competitively priced. Check them out. And if this is a video that you like, please give it a thumbs up. It helps out the channel. And if you like more stuff like this, or fishing and hiking and camping, we do a lot of that on here, so hit the subscribe button. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.